All right. Hello, I'm Kevin Rogers, and I will be presenting my final case study presentation on Gap. I want to go over a little bit of the overview to start out. Um, the founders of Gap Incorporate, Incorporated are Don and Doris Fisher, and they made sure that the company's equity pay was clear and that it was a part of its heritage. I think this was extremely important. Um, you know, Out of the case study, this is one of the first things they hit on, and it was very it was talked about a lot throughout the case. Um, Gap really opened the door for women in the workplace or in the workforce. Uh, I think that this broke gender norms right away from the start. Um, the company had 5 divisions, and some of those 5 divisions were, the first was Gap itself, Banana Republic, Old Navy, Athleta, and the last was Intermix. Gap Incorporated became the first Fortune 500 company in 2014 to declare that it will have equal pay for women and men associates for the equal amount of work they do. I think this should be emphasized a little more, especially with the case and how they presented it. I think that was very important. Um, and Gap discussed a variety of methods to create a systematic model for equal pay. Gap won the 2016 Catalyst Award for having outstanding leadership for their equal pay for gender equality. Um, Gap really opened the door for women in the workforce, as well. Like I said earlier, unfortunately, women still make less than men do. The the pay gap that we see in the U.S. today, women won't see equal pay until 2059. For Black women, it won't be until 2124. For Hispanic women, it won't be until 2248. Since the 1950s, jobs for women have increased and the labor market has attracted women into the workforce because of the legislation for um, equal pay. Um, the so one of the first methods of the analysis was to visualize a ratio of pay for full-time workers. Males and females did not show controlling any variables or levels were a part of this method. The second was a visualize a like-for-like analysis. What was the opposite, like controlling work of values and measurables? Gap showed that females have more of an entry level position than men, but the higher the position, the more equal out it is. Um, and so at Gap, um, there's some pretty high up leaders in relationships as well as the CEO Art Peck has a very open minded or is very open minded when it comes to having more women in the company because it is a win win for them and it creates a healthier and stronger performance financially. Um, there are factors that will help female leadership or leaders achieve equal pay and create an outstanding culture. This comes with looking up to role models and how important it is to present the history of women in the role model stage. Equaling out work and social life is a great demonstration of leaders and how they can be flexible. And one of my last points was women have advanced and shown collaboration, inclusion, and close relationships. It may all be challenging, but continue to be the best version of yourself and create the best experiences to work. But in any business, trust the founders and followers. So when the time comes, you will dominate the cultural expectations to keep the business running. My next slide is the position statement. In 1940 or in 1969, Gap was the forefront of the equal pay movement in America. they have also done a great job on how they perceive the equality of females in the workplace. Female leadership is a part of the entire company, which help with inclusion, equity, and diversity. The founders have done their best to improve equity within Gap and strive for the best quality of leadership. Gap will continue to create the culture that has been set from the beginning. So, like I said, the equality of women in the workforce is extremely strong, and I agree with what Gap has been doing throughout their company. Next, I would like to hit on some key players. Don and Doris Fisher are the founders. Their goal is to eliminate the gender pay gap. They created this company in a hard time where there were little to no businesswomen. There was a large part of Gap, um, it- yeah, there was a large part of Gap heritage that made sure that women would lead and the pay equity would be fair. Keith White, he's a senior vice president of loss prevention and is the leader of D&I Council. He loves the idea of having an open-eyed, valued system of gender inequality in pay. Keith also emphasizes how important a flexible schedule can be. It is the correct behavior to manage your life freedom and work balance. Next is Art Peck, CEO of Gap. Uh, he is looking for improvement of diversity of your team, as well as a strong performance from all. Diverse workplaces are important because they bring different mindsets from all sorts of people into one collective group, and you hope that they can come up with the best outcome. Amy Soliday, Vice President of the Old Navy store operations. Um, Amy loves the idea of career growth for females and how employees earn promotions and other accomplishments from creating their self-owned merits, leaderships, and skills. Nancy Green is the president and CEO of Athleta. Adopting to the changes will benefit women and their companies for better understanding. That it's important that they find a solution to do both and step in the right direction. Next is the analysis. That top-down management style exists today. Gap Incorporation has won awards for their equal pay and gender equality, such as the Catalyst Award in 2016, which is extremely important. Deloitte and for example, Deloitte, a professional service network, focus on audits, consulting, advertise, advert, advisory, and tax services. Um, and one of the things that stood out in the case was the motherhood penalty of if um, this is defined as different in earnings between women with and women without children. A study done in the UK by the Department for International Development found that the three highest reasons women have trouble moving up in corporate ladder are related to balancing home and professional life. Um, and it is extremely hard, especially when, you know, having children home with workers 24 hours a day and 7 days a week makes settings setting priority difficult. Um, and since COVID-19, mothers in the workplace have taken on a whole new set of responsibilities with work, kids, making sure everybody's safe, um, and just overall leaders of companies have needed to communicate workplace in the workplace and have flexibility support. Also, those from the top down can be flexible in their own lives to send the right messages to employees. If they see company leaders using flexible hours, they feel more comfortable doing it themselves. And for the recommendations, so the short term, could implement an equal, diverse workplace for employees. Cultural diversity will take the same priority as gender and pay equity. Full-time working mothers should have a login for the hours they work, not based on logging in at 8 a.m. and out at 5 p.m. Just due to everything they have throughout the day. They're very busy and they need to work hard when they can, along with taking care of themselves and their children or whoever else needs to be taken care of in the household, or at work. Based on logging in and out, at their convenience, like I said, we'll just if they can get their work done at their convenience, it'll just flow better throughout the day. And then my long term is within the next 3 years, transition to paid time off that covers sick childcare. This will benefit the families while the parents aren't working so they can afford to take care of their children. A child's health is very important, and spending time with your child will give you a nurturing feeling, especially from the parents, mother, father, and knowing you don't have to stress about work while taking care of your kid because your children come first, especially. And even a 25%, even 25% per child would help every family. Um, and just the women's salary and it'll leave her a little more to take home to her family as well.